Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cleveland Browns halftime report. With the score, the Browns 24 and the Ravens 6, and what has been an interesting first half of football. I'll tell you, honestly, if I were Harbaugh, not after the strip sack touchdown, let Huntley go out there again and throw it, but they got the field goal to finish somewhat of a strong note. But down 24-6 at the half. Changes in the Browns offense, not so much. We were the beneficiary of interference calls, one that was a little phantom-y, maybe in my mind. But it looks like to me Hunt re-hurt his knee. I don't know this. But seeing D'Ernest Johnson in the game makes me think that Kareem Hunt is hurt. Anybody in the chat room, please feel free to jump in and let me know whether what I'm saying has any validity or not. I just saw when he caught the ball on the flat and the guy caught the outside of his left knee, and that's been his bad knee, that I think there was a problem here. As far as Lamar Jackson, I'm not convinced that you're not going to see Lamar Jackson. I'm sure they're shooting him up with whatever painkillers they can and trying to get the swelling down. Whether it's really worth it or not, time tells. But he has come back into games in the past against the Cleveland Browns and won those games. It's always interesting to see people I don't recognize. The Browns offense looks weak. The Ravens just lacking talent. Right now, both teams are beat up and in a very different kind of way. These are not the same two teams that started out the season. Let's just put it that way. And I think it's real safe for me to say anyway, that neither team is playing at full strength, and the way plays are being called are based on that. One bad play call by Stefanski trying to throw a 3rd and 5 screen to Matt Hooper. I don't know if he really believed that Hooper was going to be able to gain 5 yards after catching a pass. Of course, the ball never got there. And then Baker Mayfield throwing an interception on what looked like a miscommunication between he and Jarvis Landry. But then the second one, which was to Donovan Peoples-Jones, was a forced pass that should never have been thrown. So we can't afford to turn the ball over that way. But for the rest of the half, Baker was hitting the targets that were in front of him. He did get a ball to Donovan Peoples-Jones twice downfield. One was an amazing toe tap catch on the sidelines that I'm surprised they didn't question. But the fact of the matter is, the Browns are ahead 24-6, and I certainly didn't see that coming. Even when Lamar was in, they looked oddly non-aggressive would be the word I'd use for the Ravens, what I'm seeing right now. They actually look more aggressive with Huntley at quarterback throwing the football. He actually looks like he's more locked in and really throwing a harder ball than Lamar Jackson. The thing is you got to put pressure on him. And being down this much, coming out in the third quarter, you want to get that first stop of the third quarter and try to tack on and add on to that lead, so that any running game, is taken away and you're free to run blitzes. We did run a blitz on a play that was the play that got them basically into the end of the field to kick that field goal. You can't complain about the risk of blitzing and then getting caught in it. But Greedy Williams was in loose coverage and totally missed the tackle. So that's that. I want to look at, I didn't really bring up, I should have done this before the game, the stat line here as we're at the half. And if there's any word more about Lamar Jackson in the chat room, please put it up for me. because I'm looking at other things right this moment. The statistics, Baker Mayfield with that interception, but 16 of 20 for 143 yards, a 7.2 yard average. The wind is blowing out there, folks. Lamar Jackson was 4 for 4, but only for 17 yards. There was nothing downfield. And Tyler Huntley averaging 5 yards a throw, 6 of 9. But the big one, of course, was the strip sack touchdown by Myles Garrett. Nick Chubb with only 27 yards rushing, Dearness Johnson with 11, Kareem Hunt with 5. So not any kind of rushing game, but we expected that the Browns would go after the secondary of the Ravens because of the injuries that they've had. As far as, the receiving, Austin Hooper has caught 5, DPJ has caught 3 passes, Landry 4, Kareem Hunt 2, and Nick Chubb 2, throwing a little bit more to the running backs, perhaps. Demetric Felton couldn't catch either punt that came his way and was replaced by JoJo Natson. Basically, that was a change that was made. And no single tackle guy. Troy Hill has made a couple of good plays, Grant Delpit, and as always, JOK right in the midst of things. He's all over the place, blowing like a cold wind all over the field. Wait, let me put that up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's going to get the shits and then come back out on the field. I don't know. I suppose we'll get a sideline update. The fact that he's questionable with an ankle makes me think that we're going to see him again. The question is whether Huntley can perform as well as he did on that last drive. That's going to be the next important question. And he did. He was 26 of 36 in his only start, and that was against Chicago. So it's not, and for 219 yards, he's not a bad backup quarterback, and he can move his feet and he can run. He's no Lamar Jackson, but, under a set of circumstances, they may be looking at trying to rest Lamar Jackson's body because, as I've pointed out, and Joe Shipley in the chat room, this is no gloat here. I don't think your quarterback's badly hurt, and I hope he's not. But the bottom line is you cannot get sacked 7 times game after game after game and maintain that spry, fresh-legged evasiveness. And he's just not as evasive as he used to be. The play that when he went off on the field, Koromoa just ran him down. And that's not something you would usually see from Lamar Jackson. He's just not moving as well as he did to begin the season. And these are the questions we ask ourselves. Does Kevin Stefanski have a second half game plan? Yeah, it's called protect the lead, and Joe Woods calls it soft zone coverage. So we can give the backup quarterback some confidence. God only knows. Wable. Yeah, can we have another bye next week? Yeah, some guys get better, but some guys get worse. So, it's like some of our guys heal, others get COVID. So it's not like we have gained that much, considering it was a bye. I don't know. Everybody's getting hurt in the league, and then COVID is playing an even worse game with all of this. That's right, Pete. I don't understand the play call, looking at a screen pass to Hooper, and it wasn't even something, they weren't even rushing. And the guy was standing there staring at Hooper. I mean, if the ball would have gotten there, he would have been flattened. Not real good. Only a Browns fan. If the Browns lose, and I'm not even going to read it. Yeah, if a guy runs into your house and rapes your wife, we can come up with worst case scenarios, And it wasn't a guy who was an elephant and he ass raped her with his trunk. Please make it stop, dear cod. Almighty fish of the sea. Yeah, he does. JOK definitely looks like the real deal. When he tackles, he tackles. He's on the bottom of that pile, and he's the guy who's gotten the guy down on the ground. He's a very good tackler. Um, and that's, and I think everybody will agree with that. What do we have to do in the second half? I would really like to see, I'd like to see more running game out of the Cleveland Browns. I'd like to see more Nick Chubb. I'd like to see, and I don't mean just little shitty running plays up the middle to kill the clock. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking more about a mix of run and pass, because Baker looks like he's starting to pressure himself and try to force balls in to wide receivers. And there's just not much separation. Even on the plays that were called pass interference, there was no separation. On the one ball that was caught, that was called pass interference or holding, illegal contact, there was very little separation, and it was an incredible catch. Right now, unless you have, the couple of touchdown passes were well-designed plays. If you have well-designed plays in space, I'm all for Baker Mayfield throwing the ball, but I don't want him standing in the pocket and trying to pick on Averett or somebody who's a weaker commodity in the secondary. And you saw what a miscommunication can do. It can even make a confused secondary guy into a hero. So, I mean, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. I hope that the Browns come out with energy defensively and get this stop to start out the second half of the game and put themselves in a position where they can combine pass and run and use up good 6-7 minutes of the clock to try to get more points. That would be an ideal situation. All right, it's my 12-minute limit, man. But don't worry, you'll get a whole lot more of Mr. Moohead after the game. I'll be right here in my house after the game with the Moohead Radio post-game show. Let's go Browns, and let's put this one away. Go Browns! All right, I'll see you after the game. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads.